I'm going to give you a few scenarios, sort of completely imaginary sort of character. So we'll imagine they walk your way. What would you advise them to do? So I don't know. So these are completely made up, right? Okay. They may be stereotypical, but at least they will be relevant to people who might be watching us today. So male in his mid-50s, is overweight, has about 60 pounds to lose. He's not diabetic yet. He doesn't have any medical conditions, funnily enough, but he's in his mid-60s, 60 pounds to lose. I imagine him having big belly as well, so visceral fat. Where would you start with him? He wants to be healthy.
I love this. This is great. This is really going to make me think. I love it. Yeah. So this is a scenario I see quite a bit. This is a type of person that, in my opinion, usually responds very, very well and very quickly to an animal-based style. So, I don't tell everybody they have to do carnivore all the time, although I think most people should give it a try at least once in their life to see, because I don't think that people understand how good they would feel if they tried carnivore, frankly. But this type of scenario, I think, does really well with it. So I would start with just encouraging him to try to get more animal protein in the diet and not worry about the other things. If we can start to reduce the carbohydrates in the diet, that will be great. But before I tell somebody to bring their carbohydrates down, which can be difficult in the beginning, I like to try to bring the other things up. Let's just make sure you're getting really full on the animal products. Do you like eggs? Do you like steak? Most people in that type of demographic love those foods anyway. So it's like, great, focus on those. Over time, I'll try to encourage them to get the carbohydrates to be lower and lower. And then with exercise with that type of person, if we're trying to go for fat loss, there's really two types of exercise that I think are really beneficial for pretty much everybody. And I would say those two types of exercise would be strength training. I want people to be doing strength training primarily, more so than doing, an hour of time on the treadmill. I would be a lot happier if you went to the weight room and maybe for 20 minutes, you did whatever machines were comfortable for you or you were familiar with, or you work with a professional to get you a right program, and lifting weights in a way that you get to a point of deep kind of muscular fatigue where you almost maybe get like a little anxious, a little shaky. You're getting to the point of where your muscles are really failing and you can't really push the weight much further. Obviously, you want to do this safely. You don't want to do this, with free weights. If you've never used free weights, you can use machines or bands, or again, work with a professional who can show you the right form and give you good balanced exercise workouts. But I want your body to receive a signal that says your current level of strength is not sufficient. It is insufficient for what you need it to do. If you go to a gym and you do 3 sets of 12 of something and you're on your third set and you did 12 reps and you set the weight down and you go, okay, that was good, but you were able to do it, your body says, great, like all the strength we needed to have, we already have. So we don't need to get stronger. We don't need to build ourselves back up. If you get to the gym and push something to the point you can't really push anymore, you're telling your body like, whoa, your current level of strength needs to go up. And that's when the body has no choice. It has to start making more muscle mass. It has to start making the bones more healthy and more dense. It has to start strengthening the joints and the connective tissue. And that is part of how we can get the metabolic rate, what we were talking about before, your calorie burn rate. We can get that to go higher and higher and higher as your body is building up strength. I find that to be the most valuable thing that people can do when they're choosing exercises. I really want people to challenge their strength through some type of resistance training. Again, hire a professional. It's not going to be as expensive as you think. It doesn't need to be for everything. It can just be a few sessions to help teach you good form and to teach you a good program that you can kind of do on your own, if that's what you want to do. The second kind of exercise that I think is really, really important for people for fat loss is movement, is the way I call it. It's not cardio the way that most people think cardio. It's not getting on that treadmill and running and huffing and puffing and breathing heavy and sweating everywhere. Those exercises burn a lot of calories, but the calories that they burn, you're working in a heart rate zone that's too intense to burn calories from fat. Most people are primarily burning a lot of calories, but the calories are coming from carbohydrates, not from fat. That's the way your body works. It uses carbohydrate calories for harder intensity exercises, uses fat for easier exercises. So I'm trying to get people to forget about the exercises that are going to make them burn lots of calories. I'm trying to get people to burn the right amount of calories and burn fat. So I want people to go on walks or easy bike rides. I want them to go on hikes outside if possible, in the sunshine, in the fresh air. If somebody likes to, skateboard or rollerblade, or, by my house, there's a lake. I take my paddleboard and I'll paddle around the lake. And it's not a very high intensity, but it's that movement. It's so good for us for humans. And it's at a level where you're burning mostly fat. It's a lot easier than where most people think to spend most of their time. And so I recommend that people pay attention to the difficulty of their exercise and put it on a scale of 1 to 10. So if 1 is sitting on the couch watching Drive to Survive on Netflix, and 10 is the hardest you could ever go, you're running away from a bear, I want most people to spend their movement time right around a 5. A 5 means that you could be breathing in and out through your nose. It means you might be able to have a conversation with somebody. You're certainly moving. You're not sitting still. So you might have a light sweat, or you might feel like you're breathing heavier than normal. But those types of exercise promote fat burning, not just calorie burning, but fat burning. Another way to kind of think about this is when you are strength training in particular, you're making yourself become inefficient. You're making yourself burn more calories all the time. That's actually inefficiency, which sounds bad, but it's actually really good if you've got extra energy in this form of stored fat that you want gone. The more inefficient you are with calories, the more you're going to burn off that energy and have better energy. It's great. Now, if you're running all the time, like I'll give you an example. If I were to do running right now, if you told me to go run a mile, I would burn a lot of calories. Because I don't run very often, I would be very inefficient and maybe flailing my arms, and people would look at me weird and be like, wow, what's that guy doing? He doesn't run. Now, if I were to do that every single day for 6 months, my body would naturally become better and better and better. And I would learn how to do that activity more efficiently. My stride would get more efficient. My arm swing would get more efficient. And what that means is I would be able to run that same mile burning less calories. So now I've become efficient. Well, that sounds really good. And it is really good if you're running a marathon or you're doing something where you have to go a long time. If you can burn less calories, you can get through that activity a little bit easier. But it's not a good thing if you've got extra energy you want gone. Efficiency means you're burning less calories. We want you to be inefficient and burn more calories. So those two things, the strength training, really challenging the muscles with quite a bit of intensity, and then also moving at a rate where people feel like they're at about a 5 out of 10 for difficulty, are the two best things that I would recommend.